Today is Thursday, August 21st, 2025. It's a red day for me on my account. I'm down about 22 bucks, which is like 1.2%. I did take 13 trades, went green on 7 of those trades, and I'm ending the day with a profit ratio of about 4 cents in the green. Kind of an abnormal morning for me. This was the morning after my second night shift. I ended up taking one trade before I got home. After I clocked out of work, sitting in the parking lot before I left for my drive home, I took a trade. That was my first trade of the morning, and I made 6 cents on it. And then I didn't look at the charts until I got home and sat around and talked with the wife for a little while, and then I started trading. I sat on the couch and just traded on my phone. Um, and I was honestly kind of just forcing myself to trade. I was super tired, literally nodding off, watching the scanner, looking at charts on my phone. I remember one of the trades I got into, I didn't even mean to get into. I was like dozing off, and I dropped my phone, and as I like kind of went to catch it, I clicked buy. Um, but anyway, I accidentally bought 100 shares of a trade, um, just from lack of focus. That being said, what I've been doing the previous few weeks, I started upping my quantity of trades every morning, and I started off with trying to hit 10 trades and then 20 trades. So what I was doing was using 10% of my account, and then when I went to 20 trades, I started using 5% of my account. But I realized that I really caught on when I was doing the 5% or 20 trades that if I wanted to take 23 or 24 trades, the last few trades, instead of using 5% of my account, I would have to use like 1 or 2 shares just so I can get a few more trades in. So then I changed. I think I started it this week where instead of using a percentage of my account, I would just buy the same amount of shares every time, which is basically what I want to end up doing once I'm able to kind of grow the account and get trading every day. My dream goal would be to where I buy 3 or 4 or 5,000 shares every time I click the button. But for now, what I've been doing is buying 10 shares. And I haven't really ran into an issue where buying 10 shares and selling 10 shares with my cash account, it seems like I pretty much always have money left over, even doing 20 or 30 shares or 20 or 30 trades. Today, that's what I was doing. And then while I was sitting on the couch falling asleep and trading, I ended up, instead of clicking 10 shares, I clicked 100 shares on one of my uh, trades, and it ended up being basically my only big losing trade of the day as well. Um, so that was handy. That's why the account seems a little off balance versus, it should be really close to break even day, if not a very small green day. But instead, the really big loser I had today was also with 10 times the share size of all my other moves throughout the day. So, uh, but anyway, I've been doing the 10 shares every move, and that's kind of reflected in my P&L as far as, when I'm doing 20 or 30 moves, if I make 15 or 20 bucks, that kind of goes to show that I made, $1.50 or $2 on the day with a profit ratio. So that's been a nice little change of pace, and has been able to make more sense out of my P&L for the days here lately. Um, so one big loser on the day, like I said, I was half asleep when I took it, and it ended up being a 30-cent loss. Um, I totaled 55 cents worth of loss on the day on the 6 losers, including that 30-cent loser. So if you take that one off the board, I had 5 losers for 25 cents, which is a 5 cent average, which is totally fine by me. I'm trying to make my average winner around a dime or or 12 cents. So having a 5-cent loser, that's kind of, I feel like, my happy place there. My accuracy wasn't super great today either, but it wasn't a great day for me trading mentally. I should have, I don't know, I don't want to say I should have just skipped today, but it was definitely one of those days where I was physically drained, and I knew that my focus was going to be completely off. And it shows. I didn't even get on my computer to trade, which I love trading on my computer. It's so much, it's just such a better setup than trading on my phone. But I just wanted to sit on my couch and chill out. I was super tired. So that's what happens when I do these things. The performance usually speaks for itself. So um, nothing major today. At least I can say I watched some charts and was active. I didn't, do any major damage. So life goes on. Tomorrow's Friday, and I plan on having a nice strong Friday to give me good weekend vibes. All right. This was my biggest winner on Thursday morning. Ticker PTIX 1-minute chart, and I got in right here in this little bull flag area, consolidation area. We had tickled 575 range right here, and I ended up getting in on a little bit of a dip. Got filled here at 565, and I was just planning on making a dime or so, thinking we were going to bounce back up to 575. We ended up kind of climbing a little higher here, and I ended up getting out at 587 for a 22-cent winner. Looking at this now, clearly I should have just held on and held for the $6 mark, and then it even broke through $6, topped out at 620. So I could have been in the 560s, held for $6, maybe even 610 or 615, and made a 50-cent move here had I just held and waited for a nice exit. But my original plan worked, and I ended up exceeding my profit goal there, so I just made an exit, and still can't complain about 22 cents on a move. So nice little move there, biggest winner of the day. And this is it kind of shows my lack of focus. If I'm able to get to 85, there's the chance of it going to the next dollar is so likely at this point, with it being a $5 stock here. I had I been thinking a little more clearly and a little more focused, I probably would have continued to hold and turn that 22 cent into a 35-cent winner. So it is what it is. It's still a really nice move for me, and that it's just another learning lesson. This is where I made my biggest loser on Thursday morning. The same ticker, PTIX. This is just a few minutes later, and honestly, this is the biggest loss I've taken in several days. That being said, I also got in on this move with 100 shares instead of the 10 shares that I've usually been doing. So that just made my P&L all kinds of out of whack for the day. But the move goes as follows. We started having a breakdown here. This is coming from right at $6 here, and we started flushing a little bit. I got in on this red candle here. This dipped down to, I think, 532, then kind of bounced back up. I made an entry in the 540s, thinking we'd rebound from the 540s up to the mid 550s, and it didn't happen quite that way. I got in at like 42, and I think it maxed out at like 43 or 44, and then it just continued sinking down. The level 2 had stacked up pretty big in the 40s there, and I didn't really catch it until I was already in on the move. And then we just continued to shit the bed from there. I ended up getting out on this red candle at 516. So that made it right at a 30-cent loss. This candle didn't even break. We're right flush with the previous candle. I mean, it just was a straight downhill shot from here. So I should have got out immediately once it didn't hold up to like the 540 range, and but instead I held, thinking that maybe the volume would spike up the right way, but it clearly didn't. We just had 3 big red candles in a row worth of selling here. So dumb move, and it was compounded with the fact that I got 10 times more share size than I wanted. But either way, it is what it is. I should have got out at a good loser, but instead I sat on it and made it a bad loser, and I haven't done that for several days, maybe a few weeks. So I'm getting better, but this was not my best work at all. And we live to trade another day, so call it what it is and move on.